Hi, this is the 2018-2019 grades 6 through 8 Math PLC. Our PLC consisted of Amanda Andrews, Krista Bartolone, Cynthia Diley, Anthony Figueroa, Susie Andro, and Michelle Wachowski. The first thing we had to do in the cycle was examine data to find our SMART goal. We decided to use the Notice and Wonder protocol to analyze and discuss the last year's PARCC scores in each grade level to find a common weakness. Student performance was weakest when it came to answering multi-select questions. This led us to our first SMART goal. The SMART goal was to improve achievement in retention of previously taught material, which would be measured by formative assessment questions. The overall student goal was that students would have approximately 70% accurate responses on multi-select style questions by February of 2019. Our educator goal was to improve instruction and uniformity of mathematical language across grade levels in order to spiral review all mathematical content. To accomplish our educator goal, we collaborated and created spiral review multi-select problems. We incorporated mini lessons on strategies to solve multi-select questions. We shared how we taught answering multi-select questions, and we shared common resources. We also shared previously successful lesson ideas to improve student performance on multi-select questions. We discussed results of the spiral reviews and successful lesson ideas, such as using quizzes to incorporate multi-select questions. We also modified lesson ideas for appropriate grade levels and ability levels.
To reach all of our learners, we scaffolded instruction in an effort to build stamina while responding to multi-select questions. Many of these questions give 6 or more possible answer choices, which can be daunting when first viewed by students. By starting off with fewer answer choices, we reduced some of the visual anxiety that could be caused, which allowed students to become more successful when they were able to look at each possible answer choice and determine using mathematical reasoning and calculations which ones to select. We gradually added more answer choices to mirror the types of questions students would ultimately see on state tests and other benchmark assessments. Reducing the number of options gave more students the opportunity to experience success and ultimately to gain confidence when tackling such multi-select problems.
Another main focus of our PLC this year was perseverance in problem solving. Students need to build up stamina in order to solve longer, more in-depth problems in the field of mathematics. We need to find the right level of struggle and challenge, a level that is both constructive, that tends to build up, and instructive, that is useful. Struggling in mathematics is part of the process in building mental muscle. Teachers need to help students in building perseverance through constructive struggle using meaningful problems. Perseverance in problem solving helps students not only inside the mathematics classroom, but in life. The more exposure the students have, the more confident they become with the ability in solving these longer, challenging problems. Teachers need to start with easier problems, and when the students feel success, they need to progress towards harder problems. In order to complete our PLC, we decided the implementation would be through spiral reviews in Google Forms. Each teacher in grades 6 through 8 created 10 spiral reviews that contained 2 questions each. 2 questions were assigned each day for a series of 10 days. These questions built on prior knowledge as well as current content material. They were all multi-select check boxes in which students had to select more than one correct answer. As you can see on the slides, these are just the sample forms. Both the general education teacher as well as the special education teacher created resources to use within the grade level classroom. After we implemented the questions and assigned the spiral reviews to the class, we had to monitor and assess their progress. The teacher assigned post-assessments after completing mini lessons. They assessed the student responses to spiral reviews through the Notice and Wonder protocol. Students showed growth in answering multi-select questions. We no longer had students select just one correct response. They were now understanding that multi-select questions needed more than one correct choice. We also utilize protocol strategies in order to analyze student work efficiently with meaningful discussion. As you can see here, during PLCs, we met as a group and we looked at the results together to help each other identify weaknesses and develop strategies to address these weaknesses. When looking at the results, the teacher can see what choices the student picked as correct versus which incorrect choices they picked. This will help the teacher show the students the incorrect choices and explain to them why they were incorrect. As you can see with this example, it was a 6th grade example in which students were solving equations. They had to substitute in the numerical solution and see if it was true. When students got it incorrect, the teacher can now explain why this choice was incorrect. For 7th grade, we used a problem that was directly released from the PARCC website. Students had to find the perimeter of a rectangle. Students were able to identify correct choices, but when a student picked an incorrect choice, the teacher could now explain to the student why it was incorrect and what was missing that made it incorrect. Another 7th grade example was another PARCC release question. Sometimes students struggle with vocabulary, and they also don't understand the difference between an expression and equation. In this case, it had a bunch of expressions that did not need to be solved. Students just had to go through the mathematical process to identify equivalent expressions. In this case, there were only 2 correct responses out of 5, so students had to persevere through the first 3 choices to get to options 4 and 5 that were the correct answers. For grade 8, the same thing. It was a PARCC release question. Students had to persevere in getting through the choices to identify 3 out of 6 correct answers. The second 8th grade question was an equation with no solution. Students had to understand which types of equations yield no solution and which choices would be correct. The teacher can look at incorrect choices and explain to the student why they were incorrect.
To end our cycle, we reviewed the data acquired through spiral reviews. This led us to a needed adjustment in practice in order to set a new goal, which was to increase perseverance and stamina when solving multi-select problems. We realized that teachers need to use a differentiated approach to help students persevere through longer and more challenging problems. We decided to utilize the spiral reviews more formally on quizzes and tests, as opposed to just do nows and exit tickets. In order to differentiate, they would start as extra credit on tests and quizzes and gradually begin to affect their scores. Another way to differentiate was to count each checkbox as a separate problem to allow for partial credit. Strategies were used to help students persevere in solving multi-select problems. Teachers modeled how to utilize the elimination tool and helped students understand that there will always be more than one correct answer. Throughout the PLC process, there were successes as well as challenges. Student confidence was definitely our main success. The students became more comfortable and confident throughout the year when faced with random multi-select questions on quizzes, activities, and other assessments. Our challenges included narrowing down a SMART goal, time, and incorporating spiral reviews to make them matter to the students. Overall, student improvement on recalling previously taught materials and answering multi-step problems with confidence definitely made this a successful PLC. Thank you for watching and have a great day.